AdQuest can offer exclusive workshops for your society residents only. And depending on your requirements, we can get the right people to do such projects for you in your own society. And here's something cool. Anybody registering through your association, we give you lifetime free access to the Green Compass. So that's about that. Moving on, I know we all aspire to cultivate a healthy lifestyle for ourselves, and gardening in our limited spaces allows us to be creative and personal in greening our surroundings, as well as it helps us to achieve a responsible lifestyle. Building our own dream garden is the theme of our next session. Ashiya is going to be our moderator for this segment. She's a homeschooling mom of twin sons, a math teacher, a seeker of knowledge, a major nature learner, and lover too. She's fond of reading books and traveling and to want to make a difference, big or even small, while living on the planet. She says, and I quote, I'm just a plain Jane who wants to do her bit to make this world a better place. As we all know, change starts from within each one of us, and we have to start somewhere. If we don't have compassion towards the present state of planet Earth, then we are doing disservice to it. By saying this, over to you, Ashiya.
Thank you, Anurag. Thank you for the introduction. So today, Green Warriors are going to present one of the best topics for sustainability, that is growing a dream urban garden. And this is going to be delivered by two very passionate gentlemen, Mr. Rajeev sir and Mr. Ramakrishnan sir. To give you a little bit of intro of Rajeev sir, he is a go-getter. He's an absolute green warrior. His hobby is to sing. He's also a sports person. He likes to do a lot of DIY projects, and he has a passion for teaching people to make the best from the least. And talking about Ramakrishnan sir, Ramakrishnan sir holds a lot of feathers in his hat. He is a retired IT professional. He is a proactive social worker. He's a part of Hasirina Harikararu group, which consists of about 400 plus passionate members who are absolutely passionate about sustainability. He's worked with Daily Dump for 4 years, and through his work, he tries to spread awareness of the importance of composting, also urban gardening. He's also part of groups like Kalyan Nagar Group, Dubai Gardeners, and one Bangalore West Terrace Gardening Group. So, Ramakrishnan sir, I would request you to enlighten us a little bit about the work of Hasirina Harikararu sir.
Thank you, Ashiya. This is Ramakrishnan from Nagar. And I was delighted to hear about Daily Dump just before this presentation. I happened to go to see the thing. After retirement, my hobby is more on garbage management, and let us do something to the society. Like the earlier speaker told, the composting is not taught in schools, and gardening is not part of curriculum. Who is going to teach all these things? So that became, now if you take Bangalore, which was once a garden city, now it has become more like a garbage city, right? And in fact, we had a meeting with MLA in the morning. He's warning about the water scarcity, which is going to come in April, May. Okay, so water is going to be rare, and everywhere you see plastic, everywhere you see garbage, and you find some of the streets ugly in Malleshwaram or Nagar. So some of these things became as the main goals for our Harikararu. Let us teach all the schools and colleges about composting, and then how to use the compost in gardening. So that was the main aim of this thing. Then came the street adoption program by the BBMP. Our Hasirina Harikararu tied up with them. We have over about 9-10 parks in Nagar, Rajaji Nagar. We became an advisor to the current education minister, Mr. Suresh Kumar. We suggested to install shredders and composters in various parks so that those dry leaves are not burnt and they are used for composting. And one way to solve the water problem is to go for rainwater harvesting. And we suggested to install something like similar to borewell in parks. And you will find most of the streets in Basheshanagar, they have put something like a rainwater pit where the water gets assembled and the water gets accumulated into the earth. So this 6-7 goals becomes the main thing. I am very happy to say that our group expanded to about 400, 500 people. I'm very happy to say that today there are 2 parallel sessions, one for a kids workshop, and in another school, which is a very ordinary government school, our volunteers are trying to set up a small garden for them so that the few vegetables which come from them will be useful to those poor children. So this is the way we have been actively working, and that is in brief about Hasirina Harikararu. So one of our key member is Rajeev, who handles most of the gardening sessions, and we specialize in each and every area. I would like to hand over the mic to Mr. Rajeev now. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ramkishar. And once again, good evening, all. Happy Saturday to everybody. Hope things are going well over there. So quickly, not wasting much time, I know a few will be eager to learn how to set up a simple urban garden at your end. I'll quickly share a presentation, Aisha, for the team. So we'll carry through the presentation part.
Sure, sir.
Just a moment. Just a moment.
And our group is on Telegram. All are welcome to join. What I need is your mobile number. You can accommodate 2 lakh members.
So able to see the screen?
Yeah, it is saying presentation, Rajiv. Yeah, yes. Can get the slideshow.
Yeah, sure. So let me know once we start the slideshow. So once again, welcome to all. So hope you're seeing the presentation right away. Or it's still refreshing. So I'll quickly start the session. So when we talk about the sustainability and when we talk about the need of, usually refer ourselves as the urban gardeners. So basically we are in the urban place, and why do we need an urban garden? So that's a very important question to start with everybody. Do we need a garden? Why are we let's say very eager to have our own kitchen garden? Why are we eager to have our own vegetable, fruits and flower gardens over there? So that's once again a very good question everybody will ask before we start over there. So as you see on the screen, we have let's say the need for the urban garden is, yes, as Ramkisar said, we were garden city. Now we have become, we are slowly getting into the concrete city and the garbage city over there. So we are losing so many trees which has been grown from so many years, which holds the water underground. There's so many things which is lost by losing so many trees, and we are still losing the trees for so many government projects, for as widening the metro and building out the flyovers. And almost by 2050, almost 50% of the world the entire population which lives in the city will be losing out so many trees over there. So once again, agricultural lands, due to so many other factors, nobody is showing much interest in agriculture. Everybody is moving towards the city, seeking jobs over there. There's so many challenges with respect to the farming as well. When it comes to the urban farming, because the urban farming is once again what we need to look is, it's once again let's say we term it as urban farming, which adds and we can preserve the green space in the city. That's the very good let's say aspect of getting into urban farming. So we can use the available space, whether it's your neighborhood, you have an empty site over there, we can simply use a small amount of space available with us to make sure that we grow something which we can consume. The second slide, what you see is, yeah, the need of urban farming is just people living in urban areas. The main criteria will be the space available in the urban farming. So whatever the space we have, whether it's a balcony, it's a terrace, anything whatever we have, we need to make sure that we can grow something which can be consumed by ourselves. And if you see in this picture, we have seen this let's say this washing your vegetables in the drained water. We have seen that in so many places over there. Even after looking into it, we don't feel like consuming those vegetables over there. So the need of urban farming is once again to make sure that we have fresh vegetables and chemical free vegetables what we are consuming, and including the food prices, especially with those vegetables and fruits which is going up day by day, and there is no control let's say for a consumer over the pesticides or other chemicals used to produce the food. Basically the production happens to make sure that they produce a large amount of food for earning over there, but at what cost is the main question. We have so many other technologies that can be used. The latest technology, the new technologies coming up is hydroponics. These agricultural can be used to make sure that you have a garden at your home and that is producing healthy food over there. Space, yes, you might have a question that, yeah, what about the space? How can I utilize the space? Space is once again a relative word. Whether it's small or big, it should not matter. As long as there is a willingness to start, which is key once again to keep your future generation in mind, you need to make sure that you need to take that particular very step so early over there. So looking at this chart, what you see is different type of containers what we have, and usually what we say in our urban gardening or terrace gardening, usually for called. So we say that grow what you eat and eat what you grow. It's a simple funda what usually we maintain. You know what you're growing, you know how you're growing, you know how fresh your food, and consuming that will not harm you. You know that. So grow what you eat and eat what you grow. That's a very, very important funda what we have. When it comes to the urban farming and terrace gardening, addressing so many other issues is once again very, very important. We need to look into the water, we need to look into the waste, we need to look into so many other aspects around us. So basically what you see is let's say the urban agriculture. So basically the term urban farming is once again a critical link in ensuring sustainable growth of your environment. Sustainable gardening as well. So what do you mean by sustainable gardening? It's nothing but growing food without any use of pesticides and chemical fertilizers, no toxic used in growing. So that's basically the sustainable gardening. So sustainable gardening depends mostly on what goes to the plants. Basically the composting is very, very important. And
Rajeev, sir,
yes, Asha.
sorry to stop you there, sir, but we don't see the slides moving at our end, sir.
Oh, I'm really sorry.
Yeah.
Let me stop and reshare. Just a moment. See, I'm not sure what's happening with Google.
Sir, you may turn your video off. That might help, sir.
Okay, I have switched off my video. I'm just refreshing it. I'm really sorry. Give me a minute.
Rajiv, sir, if it is taking time, then probably you can go without the slides as well. That should be fine as well.
Yeah, I'm really sorry for that. My PC ran into a trouble and it switched off. So
Okay.
I'm just checking if I can continue from the mobile. Just give me a minute
Sure, sir.
where to the mobile.
In the meanwhile, if the participants have any questions, they can probably post them.
Well, let me see how can I share or present. Share my screen. Start sharing. Let me know what you see on your screen.
Okay, sir.
Do you see anything?
Nothing. Yeah, we can see the.
Okay. Can you see that grow what you eat what you grow?
Yes, now we can.
Okay, wonderful. So this is what I was just explaining. So it's you need to understand what you eat, and you need to make sure that whatever you grow that can be consumed. That's once again part of the urban farming or terrace gardening. You know that whatever you grow is chemical free, pesticide free, and toxic free of food. It's once again healthy for your growth. So when we talk about urban farming or terrace gardening, very important thing will be the sustainability or sustainable garden. How exactly we can build the sustainable garden? Do we actually can we do that? Or how can we do that? So basically, sustainability is nothing but addressing what exactly we are using, like addressing the water issues and the waste issues. Very important key feature of sustainable garden is the compost. So we have gone through a wonderful composting session before this. Compost plays a vital role in the sustainable garden. So because whatever your garden gives, whatever your kitchen gives, that can be compost, that can be created into a wonderful compost, and it goes back to the plants once again. There are so many nutrients in that particular compost which will help the growth of the plant. That's very important over there. So when we see if we see that addressing water issues, we can use rainwater harvesting. That's a very important thing when you talk about sustainable way of building out the garden. You can reuse the water. Or you can reuse your kitchen waste, converting that into compost. You can create an urban garden on your terrace or available space to make sure that you grow what you need. So the next one is, yeah, when we talk about the urban, let's say organic terrace gardening or OTG, usually termed as. So we have so many questions. Each and everybody will have so many questions at the first step itself. So when we first step, yes. What are those questions first? Yeah, I have my building over there. So will my building sustain the weight of those containers, usually containing gardening, right? Will my
take the weight of those containers over there? What will be the weight on my terrace, and how to address the leakage problem? And because I'm using soil, will not be a weight over there on my terrace? So what happens when it rains? Will it seep inside? Just a lot of questions what we have before we start. Yes, nothing to worry. If we take care, this can be taken care very, very easily. When I say very, very easily, think about it. Whenever you say that, okay, wait on a terrace. So each and every building, if it is an old building, so it have a pillar-wise construction, and you'll have a wall-to-wall construction over there. So definitely there are, let's say you can place the containers on your wall bearing. That's once again on a bigger wall there, the containers. The placement of your containers plays a vital role in urban gardening. So placement is very, very important. I'll show a couple of pictures wherein you can identify a wonderful placement which makes even 30 years old building can also do such a wonderful gardening work. Leakage, yes, before starting the gardening, make sure that you take care of the leakage. In case if it is an old terrace over there, make sure that the entire terrace is waterproofed. So that is very, very important over there. So once you're taking care of, let's say, leakage problem, then soil should not be an issue, because we have a certain methods when we go through an urban gardening session or urban gardening setup. We can make sure that we use less soil and more other materials, so that the weight can be managed on your terrace. So that can be taken care of. The first step, the first thing is to make sure that you have your first initial step going on. So as I said, usually we term the urban gardening as, let's say, the container gardening or terrace gardening part. So whenever you see this, you see towards your left side, you have so many other containers. So when you talk about the gardening, it's once again the art of let's say growing plants, and it's very, very creative field. How creative you are, so that much creativity you can put in getting your setup done. You see there are plastic bags used, there are used containers, oil cans, instead of throwing it. Once again, sustainability, reuse so many things. Whatever you have, don't shell out money every time. Okay, I need to buy 1,000 rupees pots over there. No, I can use whatever I have at my home. I can use the jadi, whatever you have, the ceramic pot, even that can be used. The oil cans, instead of throwing, cut it and use it as a container. So many things you can do, creative things you can do with respect to the container whenever we talk about the container gardening. So with the container gardening, as I said, you can be very, very creative, and whatever the space you have, so the creativity goes along with the available space. So these are a couple of, let's say, images what you see with respect to different containers. What I can use, the earthen pots I can use thermocol. So if you have thermocol box, instead of throwing it, I can definitely use the plastic, that is the food grade plastics what we have, the plastic pots. I can use the coir pots as well. That's once again gaining popularity amongst the container one. Grow bags, so these are all let's say what I can say is made for terrace gardening. So grow bags are made for terrace gardenings. So that's once again the weight management, because you'll have a question of, will my roof or will my terrace hold the weight? Grow bags are very, very much for that. And you can use let's say a cement bags. If you are, instead of throwing it, you can just keep some soil and grow a couple of things. Gunny bags can also be used. So that's what is it, creativity to the core. So you don't have any stoppage for a wonderful creativity what we have. Choosing a container is once again very, very important. If you see this particular slide, once you know what you need to grow, because that's the first step. Now you have taken care of your terrace, you're taking care of the leaking problem. Next, you need to understand what I need to grow. So that is very, very important question. So it's not that I can grow anything. Yes, definitely I can grow each and everything on my terrace. At my terrace, I'm planning to grow a coconut tree. So is it possible? Yes, I need to plan for that. That is very much possible. I'm growing adke mara, I'm growing banana on the terrace. Yes, it is possible. So you need to understand what you want to grow. It's not that, okay, my neighbor is growing something, even I need to grow that. If you're not consuming it, please don't grow. You can use that space for something else. That is very, very important. Choosing a right container will be very important. I can share this particular let's say information because we have so many different types of containers: 6 inches, 8 inches, 12, 15 inches, 18 inches, 20, 24 inches, and blue drums, 160 liters drums, 210 liters drums used over there. So choosing a wise container is very important. And the reason why I'm choosing the container is because you know what to grow. If I want to grow a leafy vegetable like palak, like amaranthus, like so many other things, mint and everything, I don't need a 12 inches pot. A 6 inches or 8 inches container will definitely do. Similarly, if I want to grow vegetables, the brinjal, beans, and all this, I can use 12 to 15 inches pots over there. So I need not buy to 18 inches. 18 inches will be a little more bigger, the vine type vegetable, the creepers, but that will help for 18 inches. Three types of, let's say, plants which you want to grow, like guava, mango, which grows a bigger tree. Then you need to give more space for the 24 inches grow bags or containers. So choosing the containers based on what you want to grow is once again very important over there. Points to be considered while planning a terrace gardening. So this is very important. Points to be considered. How much space is available? So whenever we talk about an urban gardening space sector, space is once again challenging, as we know that. So how much space do you have? Do you have a balcony at least for 8 by 8 by 5? Oh, wonderful! You can grow wonderful stuff in your balcony. And what do you want to grow? How is the light with respect to the place, what exactly you're growing? What kind of vegetables you grow? It's not that I can grow everything, but do I consume that? Whatever I consume, I grow. I don't want to use much space over there. And intercropping is very important to attract, let's say, to attract more flies, more bees for the pollination surface. Intercropping is very important. And the very important thing is making a compost from your kitchen waste and your garden waste as well. The leaf composting, that contains most nitrogen over there. So definitely you can use the leaf composting as well. So these are all the very important points that needs to be taken care while when you are starting over there. See, when you talk about an example of the terrace gardening, you see I'm showing a couple of pictures over there. One picture what I have here is with respect to a wonderful setup of the garden, wherein it shows with respect to the solar part, where it shows the placement of different let's say plants and the creepers, the setup for those creepers over there. A wonderful setup what we have, utilization of the terrace. On the other hand, if I little bit zoom in over there, you see the placement of each and every containers. You remember the terrace, if it is an old building without any pillar based construction, then the placement of your garden is very important. When you see the placement of the garden, yes, you see that the tree varieties are towards the end of your let's say garden. Tree varieties are towards your end, whereas your leafy vegetables, which are less weight, is in between the building over there. So that way you can definitely manage your weight on the terrace.
Okay,
Now,
yes, actually we're running short of time.
sure. Yeah,
Okay.
I can definitely complete. Give me 5 more minutes because we
Okay.
started a bit late. So give me 5 more minutes. So
Okay.
the best practice, a very important question will be with respect to the potting mix. What will be the ideal potting mix that can be used for a container-based gardening? So the potting mix is once again, yes, the use of soil, the manure, the compost, and coco peat. So these are all the vital ingredients what we need. And the proportion for the terrace gardening will be 20% of soil, 20% of manure, 10% of compost, vermi compost or kitchen waste compost, whatever compost you have, 10% of the compost, and 40% of your coco peat. So this will once again be a light-weighted container, and you can grow wonderful things. You can question me, okay, you are using less soil and less manure, then how will the plant grow? The plant grows wonderfully, and you'll be introducing the nutrients over there. So nutrients is with respect to the fertilizer, liquid fertilizer. You can definitely use nutrients over there. So there is the primary nutrients what we use is NPK. So you've heard about NPKs over there. So the primary utilization of the nutrients is NPK. So NPK usually don't think about that as let's say nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium Yes, that is. Don't think you're thinking about the chemicals. And we say sustainable gardening. Don't worry about that. You can still use banana peels as your fertilizer. That is once again chemical free. You can use your coffee grounds. You can use your cocoa, that is eggshells. So many things you can use from your kitchen to replace the chemical nutrients over there. So you can see a couple of images utilizing the space in your balcony. As I said, it's creativity. Vertical gardening is one of the important thing which you can use. You can see so many pictures, different containers that are used with respect to the gardening aspect as well. And the last thing what I need, just a couple of minutes. The last thing is taking care of your plants. One, everybody will grow. Just putting the plant.
I think Rajeev sir left
Yeah.
by
We,
mistake.
we can take the questions.
Yes, sir. So, Ramakrishna sir, we have some questions.
Yeah.
So probably you can address them.
Sure, sure.
The first question is from Paritosh sir. How to begin gardening in a small space?
Yeah, one is whether you have sunlight there, you have to check and find out the available space and decide whether to have pots or grow bags, or why not use discarded distillery bottles. And this thing can be used, and they use your home compost, that is one third of that. Get some red soil and maybe some neem cakes or some other nutrition, and sow a seed. You start with that, as simple as that. And
Okay.
don't worry, even if it is an indoor room, you can go for hydroponics or you can go for microgreens.
Okay, sir. Second question is from Kajal. Um, she's asked, is growing your own food the best way to approach sustainability?
Rajiv?
Rajiv sir has
Yes.
left as a,
No, I'm really sorry.
okay,
The
fine.
meeting is kicked. I think the Google Meet doesn't like me, so it is kicking out. So yes, growing your own food definitely is, let's say, one approach of the sustainable living over there. Because as we saw the presentation, so you know what you're growing. You're growing it without pesticides. You're growing it without chemicals. Without toxins. Definitely, those are organic once again, which you are growing in front of your house, and you are taking it whenever you need it, and that's very healthy with all the fertilizers what you use. Definitely yes.
Okay, sir. That's great. One more question. Given your vast experience, please share some tips on gardening, soil potting variation for plants and vegetables. I think a part of which you've already told us.
Yeah, it was there in the PPT.
Yes, sir.
Yes. So unfortunately, due to lack of time and due to my internet, it let's say we lost it. But yes, the soil mix is as I said, when we talk about container gardening, when we put on balcony or terrace, weight management is 20% of the soil, 20% of manure, 10% of the compost, and 40% of coco pit. So this will be the best soil mix what you can use for growing anything. So we know that there are so many other let's say information that okay, for tomato you have a different soil mix, for brinjal you have a different soil mix. Don't worry about that. We are not scientists to let's say think all about okay, what is 10%, 20%. Just use 20, 20, 10, and 40%, and keep on adding your vermicompost. Vermicompost is very important compost over there. Every 15 days you add your vermicompost, or you have something called as jivamruta, you have something called as panchagavya, so which is once again cow urine, cow dung, natural once again, no chemicals. Banana peels, coffee tea, let's say grants over there. There's so many liquid fertilizers you can make at your home, and you can feed your plants, and that gives you a wonderful result over there.
Thank you so much, sir. We had a few more questions, but since we're running out of time, the participants can mail their questions or send it even now to @quest, which is a one-stop for sustainability, everything about sustainability. Thank you so much, Rajeev sir. The presentation was very enlightening, and I'm sure it must have encouraged many of us to start our own urban garden. And Ramakrishna sir, thank you
Thank you.
for your talk and answers. And now we can go to the next group, that is Renewable Rockstars. Anurag.